Hi, I'm Linda. Thanks for joining me today, the last day in 2022. I just finished up this mountain scene. It is an Alaskan snow scene, one of Bob Ross's, and it was really fun to paint. I enjoyed putting the mountains in and the evergreens. I did add a few on the side here and put a few there, changed it a little bit, but it's got a pretty little cabin there and some nice snow in the foreground. I know you're going to love painting this, and hopefully you'll learn some new techniques with making the mountain with the different layers of blues. So if you can follow me, pause and paint, I know you can do it. So let's get started. So here are the oil paints I used: liquid white, phthalo blue, Prussian blue, black, Van Dyke brown, yellow ochre, and red. And so now I'm taking some liquid white and I'm going to go all over, a nice light coat all over my canvas. Very light, all over. And after that, I'm taking a shop towel, shop rag, and I'm gently going over it, taking off the excess oil. That blue shop towel works really good, no fibers. So now I'm going into a little bit of phthalo and Prussian, and I'm going to make some clouds. Clouds up on the top right corner, little circular motions, just kind of zigzagging up and down there, just putting a little color down. Don't have to be real fussy. And then I'm going to take a nice clean dry brush and go underneath that and buff that all out underneath. Just buff it really nice and smooth. Just kind of up and down, zigzag, just brushing your brush on a little paper towel, taking the excess off your brush, and just smoothing that, blending that all kind of together. Kind of leaving the top edge though, and then brushing up and brushing across. Making a nice wintry sky. And then with the same color, I'm going to make some water. And brush from the side of the canvas inward and leave the center part white. Just the other side, brush in all the way down. Bottom is a little bit darker. And just blend that in. Then go on up to the horizon line and make a nice line right across there. Just smoothing that in. Okay, so I'm adding a little more white to my clouds. Just here and there. Breaking up some of that solid blue in there, adding a little white. Buffing that out, leaving the top edge, putting a little extra blue on top. Just kind of brushing some of that blue in there. Adding a few little darker areas. And buffing that out. Putting some in the corners, I'm putting a little darker. Kind of balance, I'll do the other side, kind of balance it out a little bit. I'm just using a little fan brush. Kind of making it up as I go along. And you can do yours the way you want to. And I'll put a little on the other side. Just like I said, to balance it off a little bit. And then buffing that bottom edge out. Softening with a clean dry brush. Lifting upward and across. Blending it really as good as you can. So now I'm taking a little Prussian and a little bit of Van Dyke brown, touch of black. I'm making a really dark color for my mountain base. So I'm trying to get a little roll on my palette knife and figure out where I'm going to start my first little mountain on the right there. I'm going to have one peak right about there. And I'm paying close attention to the top edge. I want that nice and crisp. So I'm pulling some of that paint down as I make my mark. And then going over and forming my mountain. Pulling some of that excess paint down. It's not a very big mountain, but and it's not all the way down to the white. Now I'm taking a nice dry brush and I'm going to pull some of that blue down and then filling in the mountain, taking the excess blue off, tapping my paper towel. You can brush that all the way down to the horizon line if you want. So now I'm going into a little bit of titanium, and I dipped my palette knife in a little bit of liquid white too, and I mixed it in together. It's a little bit to help it flow a little nicer. Get that little roll on there. Takes practice, but you'll get it. Start at the peak and just pull down gently, ever so lightly. Getting that top edge of the mountain covered. And leave that little crevice in there, a little dark. Start at the next point, peak, and pull down. If you don't get a lot of coverage, that's okay. Just keep going. It'll happen. Just shaping your peaks. And the next peak there, pull down. So I'm taking a little bit of icy blue. It's the same color blue. Add a little white to it. Just making the little shadows there in on the left side of those crevice peaks, because that's the shadow side. So you want to make sure you have a little bit of shadow over there. And then you can go back over and put your white peaks back in there. It does take practice, but you'll get it. See, I'm going back over, putting a fresh coat of white snow on those peaks. And I'm taking a clean dry brush, tapping at the base of that mountain, just tapping a little bit, lifting up a little bit, creating a little bit of a foggy effect to that mountain. And you can add a little white to your brush and tap it in there too. A little more white coming down. I mean, you can play with it and, you know, make it how you want it. Get up, stand back, look at it, add more. And I keep adding a little more here and there. So now I'm taking some of that same dark color and I'm going to make another mountain. I'm going to overlap that bottom part of the mountain. I'm going to cover that up a little bit. My main peak is going to end up right there. So I'm going to start at the bottom so I make sure I cover that up at a decent angle, because it's going to overlap that mountain. I'm pushing that mountain back. I'm bringing this one forward. Again, I'm making sure my edges are nice and sharp. And have another little peak right there. Pulling that excess paint down. But I want to make sure my top edge is nice and crisp. Take your time. You see, I'm taking my time. I still am working on my mountains. They're kind of they've been difficult for me in the past, but I think I'm finally getting it after 30 some years. So I just take my time. So I'm going to make my next little peak there to the edge of the canvas. Now I'll take a clean, dry brush, start at the peaks and pull down that excess dark color. And then fill in your mountain with the extra paint there. And just pull down. There's going to be enough dark color there for your highlights to look really good anyway. So you just pull that down and then brush it in, fill that mountain in. And pull it right down to into the blue water there. There we go. So I'm going to put some highlights, some snow on that mountain. Start at the peak, Then roll, pull down. Very, very, very light. No pressure at all. And it does take practice, but once you get going, it's not that hard, really. It's all in the pressure and how you hold that knife. Kind of flat. Your wrist is toward the painting, and you just pull down. One motion. Just shape your peak. And you can add extra little things in there. Different layers of mountain angles. Just make it however you think. Stand up, walk away, look back, see if there's, another way you can do it. You can get a better perspective. And putting a little shadow with a little bit of darker blue, same blue with a little white, just for shadow effect. Kind of brings it all together. Then you can add your more snow on that after you put in your shadow. I'm going to add a little more on the left side of that peak, a little darkness, shadow. And same with that side. There, doesn't look too bad. Okay, now I'm going into the blue, a little bit of brown, touch of white. And I'm going to create some hills way in the back with a little 1-inch with a chiseled edge. Just tapping really lightly, making a faraway hill back there. It's going to be just at the base of that mountain. I'm going to start on the right there and just gently tap. Nope. So I'm just going to tap very lightly. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight and have little hills back there. And I'm not going to go all the way to the end. Right about there, I think. That's a good spot to end. Then I'll continue on and I'll make some more hills, leave it a little of that white area in there. Just tapping really, really lightly, shaping that far away, distant, those hills. I'm just angling down to the right corner there. Not all the way. It's just tapping really lightly. There, that looks pretty good, don't it? Maybe a little bit farther down. Okay, now I'm taking my same brush and I'm lifting up just ever so lightly. I'm making some distant trees in the back. If you lift up really lightly on that color, you can pull some of that up. Looks really cool. Looks like little trees in the distance. So then I'm going to take a clean brush and pull down in the front for shadows in the water. All the way to the end, really getting narrower and narrower as you get to that faraway peak. Then I'm taking a palette knife with a little bit of titanium on that. I'm going to create a little shoreline there. Just kind of going back and forth there, creating a little water line. Until I get to the end there. I'm going to go to the very tip and continue that little line. So now I'm going to the Prussian black, a little bit of Van Dyke brown. I'm making a really, really dark color again. I'm going to put some evergreen trees in on the left side there. I'm not going to cover up the mountain though. I want to go just so I don't cover that up. Just the corner of my fan brush, side to side. So load it up with paint pretty good. If it doesn't go on, dip your brush in a little bit of thinner and it should go on very nicely. Make a second one a little bit shorter. Same thing, corner of the brush, side to side, pushing a little harder as you go down. And I'll make another little one off to the side there, shorter yet, kind of peeking out. And same color, making a couple of really distant ones, very, very little ones in the back there. So I'm going to have kind of a, I don't want to say peninsula, but it's going to be a little landmass there with a couple of small evergreens in the distance. Take my palette knife and make some nice little treetops there. Take my fan brush and push up a little land below it there. Just push up some greenery underneath that. Shrubs, little land mass. Just tap that in. And of course, gotta have a couple shadows there in the water. So I just tap three little lines in there where the trees are and just brush across, straight across. And then I'll take my palette knife and add a little bit of waterline underneath that. But now I'm making some lighter blue, Prussian with a little bit of white. And I'll mixing that up there. Take my fan brush, go into that lighter blue, and I'll put some highlights on those trees, just ever so here and there. Just tapping them in. Toward the end, we'll be putting lighter highlights, not quite so blue, but you'll see in the end. So now I'm going to make a landmass underneath those evergreens, and it's phthalo and a little bit of phthalo, a little bit of Prussian. It's a lighter blue than the trees, a little bit lighter. Didn't put the brown in that, so I'm just going to angle over and create a landmass there, pushing upward, making some like little brushwork at the bottom of the canvas. It's pushing up, and I'm going to go all the way to the right side. I'm just filling in here now, filling in. There we go, I'm tapping that other side, brushwork. Filling that in. Okay. Another dark color there, Prussian. A little bit of black and a little bit of Van Dyke brown, like the other pine trees. Put a big one right there. Load that brush up using the corner side to side motions. And if you think it's not going on real good, just dip your brush in a little bit thinner and then in your paint, and it should flow very nicely. And go all the way down to the top of those bushes. I want that tree to come forward. So then I'm doing a second tree, a little bit shorter. Kind of angles out a little bit, peeking out a little bit. It's not exactly as straight as the other one, that's fine. It adds interest. Same thing, tapping fan brush a little harder as you go down. It's amazing what the fan brush can create there. I'm going to put another little evergreen a little bit closer than the little ones in the back. Make it a little bit bigger. Just tapping the evergreen there. And I'll have another one right next to it. I'm using a smaller fan brush. It's easier to get those little branches in. And do another little one right next to it. Making my little peaks with a palette knife. So I'm going to make a little snowdrift in the back, kind of a bunch of snow right there on the bank, pushing upward with fan brush. Can lift up a little bit. It's going to be, looks like a little foliage back there. But just push in gently and go all the way down, smaller as you go to the end. Looks like a snowbank there. And you don't have to be real fussy. It's in the distance, you know. I'm still putzing with it. Just pushing in. Just high and low spots. Until you get it how you want, how you like it. So there I've got that icy blue, a little more white this time to the with the Prussian, a little more white. I'm going to highlight those trees, even lighter yet. And just tap here and there. It doesn't have to be totally loaded. Just here and there. Kind of shaping out some of those boughs, those evergreens. And I tap my brush because there's still a lot of dark blue on that yet, so you want to make sure it's fairly clean when you dip into your icy blue. And I just work my way over to the other side, trying to give them all a little extra highlight. So now I've got a big old round brush. I dipped it in some liquid white, and then I brushed it in titanium white. And then I flipped her around, and I'm just tapping really gently to get those little brush marks. If you don't like the angle when you press it in there, turn your brush a little different way. Maybe you'll get a better bushy thing, better bushy look, I guess. It takes practice. And just tap in some bushes there in the front and along that bank there. And then I'll pull down some white and make a pathway. The cabin's gonna set up there, nestled in those evergreens. But we're just creating a little bank there, a snow bank. So now I'm taking a little bit of black. I'm kind of shaping my cabin. You can scratch out some of that excess paint in there and shape your cabin, the roof. And when you get it just right, you can add a little black. What I'm doing the front pull down, getting that basic cabin shape. And now I'm putting my roof on. I added a little white on that palette knife. And you can adjust that. I think I did change my roof a little bit, the peak in the front. I raised it up a little bit. It was just a little bit low. Because it always helps to get up and stand back, take a good look at it. See, I'm raising that roof a little bit in front, and that helped. It helped a lot. Going into a little Van Dyke brown, yellow ochre. I'm going to put some color on the outside of that cabin, trying to make it look weathered, the weathered look. And if you hold your palette knife just right underneath the roof line, you'll be able to just pull straight down and you'll get a nice straight front on that cabin. Right underneath the roof line, pull down. And get the color just the way you want it. So now with the small edge of my palette knife, with a little bit of black on it, I'm going to make a door in the front. Just pull straight down. Then I put a couple of windows in there too. And tip the sides of the door with just a little bit of white. You can add a little yellow ochre inside your windows too, if you want to. And oh, you can keep putzing with that cabin for a long time until you get it exactly the way you want it. I did put a little bit of a chimney on there too. So now I'm putting a little smoke coming out. Corner of my fan brush, just ever so lightly, just kind of circular up. Make a little smoke coming out of there. So now I'm taking a palette knife and I'm putting some extra snow from the door down into the path. Snowy path there. Just go underneath that row of bushes. Keep adding, and then you can take a fan brush or a brush and just gently pull up to smooth it out. Very, very lightly though. And you can keep adding and go all the way to the right there, pulling that snowbank in underneath those bushes. Till you get it exactly how you want it. Adding some little bushes, smoothing that out up there a little bit. Adding some finishing touches with some bushes in front there in the corner. A few extra highlights here and there. Just tapping gently. Well, I almost see a finished painting here. I really enjoy doing this one, and I hope you do too. So until next time, happy painting and God bless.